firefighters investigate a deadly blaze that occurred Saturday night, killing a 10-year-old girl. The Athens-Clarke County School District is shifting to mask-optional campuses come February 28th. And a group of knitters are busy covering 911 victims, foster children, and blue-collar workers with love. All that and more on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
We apologize for that delay. Good evening, I'm Ansley Edwards, and this is Grady Newsource at 5. In less than half an hour, people will gather at Athens City Hall in remembrance of Ahmaud Arbery's murder in Brunswick, Georgia 2 years ago. Georgia's General Assembly has declared the 23rd Ahmaud Arbery Day, and people across the state are walking and running to commemorate Arbery. The walk in Athens has been organized by the Athens Anti-Discrimination Movement. Delaney Tarr will join us in a moment, live on the scene as people prepare to walk with Ahmaud.
Two candidates vying for the vacant District 4 Commission seat of Barrow County gathered last night in the Auburn Public Library. They were able to give a glimpse into the issues of Barrow County they look to resolve and explain the qualifications they possess to be the District 4 Commissioner. Candidate Alex Ward says his background as a contract attorney makes him the best candidate for Barrow County.
I have to read every single line in a contract, every single provision of a contract, and I have to understand how is that going to affect my client. And that is a skill that I believe we need in the county commission.
Robin Martinelli, on the other hand, believes her history of overcoming adversity, having lost a leg, makes her the best candidate.
I've had to overcome and conquer and understand that I can sit down and be patient and read everything.
The public also had an opportunity to ask the commissioners themselves about certain issues each candidate will look to tackle if they are elected. Ward prioritizes responsible growth of the county infrastructure and building a sense of community.
Our infrastructure not being able to keep up with the demands of the new growth. And then third is that loss of the sense of community.
Martinelli also gave her main issues.
Taxes, crime, and traffic. All of these issues are extremely, extremely important, but we can't forget our EMTs, our 911, and all our service industries too.
The election is set for March 15th. For more information, visit the Barrow County Commission website. Cole Aycock, Grady Newsource.
Earlier, we told you about statewide Ahmaud Arbery Day and upcoming Walk with Ahmaud in Athens. Delaney Tarr joins us now from the scene. We apologize, technical difficulties on our end. Senate Bill 202 was passed in this election cycle, bringing new rules and regulations for the Board of Elections and voters alike. Grady Newsource reporter Elle Jacobson fills us in on Senate Bill 202 and what it means in this next election.
The local Board of Elections is making preparations already for this coming election, with the first priority being a staffing increase.
Headcount is always a challenge for us as it relates to poll workers and recruiting our poll workers, and right now we are recruiting.
Where in the past you used to be able to request an absentee ballot as soon as mid-May, now the earliest to request is 11 weeks before the election. Voters also must complete their ballots at least 11 days ahead of time instead of 5 to have their absentee votes counted.
As I've told my staff, we're going to move with the cheese. So changes come when the legislature starts and laws change, and we just have to adapt to those.
During COVID-19 shutdowns, lawmakers increased accessibility to voting with absentee ballots and allowed for more ballot drop boxes. However, you may notice that there are now less ballot drop boxes around town. With the changes of SB 202, the local Board of Elections is home to the only ballot drop box in Athens, reachable from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Public Affairs Professor Joseph Watson foresees an adjustment on voters with the change from vast availability of drop boxes to the now regulated accessibility we're seeing.
And all of those things, along with some of the other changes, will definitely have an impact in terms of the number of voters that will be able to take advantage of those things.
But ultimately, the changes are manageable for voters who stay aware.
If you want to vote, it does not seem like you will, be precluded from doing so, but it will not necessarily be as convenient as it may have been during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Elle Jacobson, Grady Newsource.
Numerous counties and cities in Georgia will receive funds from a $422 million grant for clean water and wastewater systems. Governor Brian Kipp announced a grant that will increase water services in high-need areas, improve water waste systems, and wastewater treatment. Jackson County will receive nearly $3 million, and Barrow County will receive $10 million. Moving forward, the funds will help with water sustainability for communities all over Georgia. Athens-Clarke County Commissioners are looking to expand affordable housing available to low and medium income Athens-Clarke County residents in the near future. Grady Newsource reporter Abby Buston describes the impact.
Affordable housing leaves low-income residents at a loss, and Athens-Clarke County Commissioners are looking to help. The answer: inclusionary zoning.
So inclusionary works in a way to incentivize affordable housing development, particularly it getting built by developers that are already planning complexes for Athens.
Affordable is defined as costing 30% or less of a tenant's income. Mariah Parker, District 2 Commissioner, says this is a carrot versus a stick effort towards developers.
They would have waivers for some of the commercial space that are required in the downtown zone on the first floor. There's also the opportunity to take advantage of parking requirement reductions.
But the main perk for developers is a density bonus. If 10% or more of a development's units are allocated to low-income residents, for example, then the developer receives a 50% bonus. If passed, the proposal will create more available space. But Heather Benham, Athens Land Trust Executive Director, says it's voluntary. Developers will still have to agree to the plan for it to work.
I can't help but be focused on, okay, when are we going to have a ribbon cutting where people are actually moving in and there's a place to house people?
Right now, the recommendation only covers multifamily housing complexes, such as apartments or duplexes. Benham hopes this is extended to single-family housing in the future. The proposal is expected to pass this Tuesday. For Grady Newsource, I'm Abby Buston.
If you're awaiting a new gathering spot with tons of different restaurants, entertainment, libraries, and workout facilities, don't worry. Wire Park will be open this summer. Grady Newsource reporter Taylor Green will show us around Wire Park and what we should expect.
Wire Park, an innovative development in Watkinsville, has just announced more than 20 businesses that will be coming to their property.
We'll have residential living on it, but it's primarily, the central theme of it is that it's a commercial and retail space combined all into one.
Jordan Price, the Director of Operations for Wire Park, explains how these 20 businesses will affect the Oconee County area.
We really see it almost like a second town center in Watkinsville.
Although Wire Park is currently in the building process, yesterday it was announced that businesses like the Original Hot Dog Factory, Fit Body Boot Camp, Sugar Polish Nail Bar, Lelo's Tacos and Cantina, Scoops Ice Cream, and many more will be opening at Wire Park. Not only will Wire Park have multiple food choices, they will also have an indoor baseball and softball training facility, the Oconee County Library, and Oconee County's first brewery.
Wire Park is going to be a place for people to gather. We think it is going to be a tremendous blessing to the community around here.
Although community members are excited about this new gathering spot, community member Julie Mock has some concerns about what this means for Oconee County.
Definitely the traffic on Barnett Shells Road and through Watkinsville is of concern. So I just hope there was a lot of planning involved in that.
Jordan Price notes that traffic is a concern and is working hard to assure that this will not be a problem once it is up and running.
We're working with the county and the city. Everybody is really trying to do what they can to create the infrastructure to accommodate more people in downtown Watkinsville and at Wire Park.
Wire Park will be having a grand opening this summer with majority of the property being complete. I'm Grady Newsource reporter Taylor Green.
Coming up, we get a live look into the annual local traffic report released by Athens Clarke County Police Department.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Regardless of where you are on your path to retirement, you can still take charge of your financial future today. Visit aceyourretirement.org and answer a few questions from Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach, for free tips, resources, and advice customized for your situation to help you feel confident and prepared for retirement. Retirement looks different for everyone. Make sure you're prepared for your financial future at aceyourretirement.org.
The final week of February is dedicated to National Eating Disorders Awareness. This year, the theme is See the Change, Be the Change. Grady Newsource reporter Anna Hughes tells us more about this campaign and some local resources.
It is hard for a lot of people to talk about because sometimes people don't want to, admit or acknowledge that they do have a problem with food because it's really easy to become.
Caroline Newton, a third-year student at the University of Georgia, is one of the more than 28.8 million Americans who could have an eating disorder during their lifetime. Eating disorders can affect anyone, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation. Common signs include restrictive or binge eating, excessive exercise, purging foods, and preoccupation with weight and calories. This week is National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. This annual campaign focuses on educating the public about the reality of eating disorders while providing support to those dealing with them.
Realize it's not something to be, ashamed about. It's something that you can't control. It's out of your control. You didn't choose to do this to yourself.
Dr. Annalisa Arroyo, an associate professor of communications at the University of Georgia, says that we live in a culture that unnecessarily perpetuates issues about the body. Her research surrounding body image adds to the conversation that people like Caroline are having.
The more we talk about it, the more we normalize it. Eating disorders specifically, but mental health issues broadly, it makes us feel less shame in our experiences.
UGA has many resources for students struggling with eating disorders through the health center's counseling and psychiatric services and its registered dietitians. Residents of Northeast Georgia can reach out to the Eating Disorders Recovery Center of Athens or ThriveWorks Counseling to learn how to take the next steps in their recovery and healing journey. Anna Hughes, Grady Newsource.
National Eating Disorders Awareness Week, UGA is hosting an event tomorrow night on Zoom called Let's Talk Bodies, which is a spoken word event where people will share their experiences with eating disorders. You could register for the event online. The Athens Clarke County Police Department reports less vehicle crashes but more fatalities. Grady Newsource reporter Brianna Smith joins us now live from the studio to highlight some of the trends from the report. Hi, Brianna.
Now, the crash rate is down, but fatal accidents are up 24% over the last year. Now, the likelihood of dying in a car accident in Athens has increased by 200%. This rise is consistent with the national trend. Fatalities are up 18% since 2020. There were 24 fatal crashes in Athens last year, resulting in 25 deaths. Of the people killed, 7 were pedestrians and 1 was a bicyclist. Drugs, alcohol, lane departure, and other factors contributed to the fatalities. Athens is a college town, and drivers between the ages of 16 and 24 were involved in over half of all crashes in Athens in the last 5 years. Ansley, this is something that we should keep in mind as we travel.
I agree. Thank you, Brianna. A Barrow County Board of Education member is running for re-election. Matthew Davis has more about her and her main opponent.
Artists from fashion design to painters are making their way towards Athens-Clarke County Library to hold a panel for Black History Month. This will discuss prominent local African-American artists about their places in the art world and what it means to be a Black artist in Athens, Georgia. Kit Felto of Fel2 Photography and panelist says that this is not only an important event for Black History Month, but also artists everywhere.
It's just for being an artist in general. Being an artist doesn't really get you a lot of spotlight, and being a Black artist definitely doesn't get you a lot of spotlight.
The organizers say it is important to the library to be inclusive and have open discussions on these topics.
We try to bring as much cultural programming to the library as we can.
For Felto, it is a month in which his identity and experiences are recognized as well. He says that he wishes all of history was integrated more in schools.
Black people have contributed so much to this country, and it's just like we need more than a month. But it's not like all about us. No, it's like it's a collective.
Although this will be the last event the library is hosting for Black History Month, there will be small workshops until the end of the month. The children's department has a crafts section to learn about different Black artists, and the teen section has a Who Am I quiz to learn about important historical figures in Black history. As for now, Felto hopes that he can shed light and advice on this.
They tell you, hey, go to school to be a doctor, go to school to do whatever, but they never tell you, hey, follow your dreams and follow your passion.
To register for any upcoming events, you can go to athenslibrary.org. Melissa Garcia, Grady Newsource.
We apologize for that. Now we are going to run Matthew's package. So a Barrow County Board of Education member is running for re-election. Matthew Davis is going to tell us more about her and her main opponent.
Stephanie Bramlett, who joined the board in January of 2019, is looking to continue to serve Barrow County in her District 9 at-large seat. She says most of her time in the position has been under COVID-19 pandemic and hopes to have a more normal time in her position in the next 4 years.
I hope that I can be much more, hands-on with the kids, just be able to be there more. So I would like that.
This is one of the 3 at-large seats on the board. That means that the position has no set boundaries, but allows the Board of Education member to have oversight over the whole county.
I would say, what do I hope to do in the next 4 years? I hope I get the opportunity to continue to advocate for them even when it's hard.
However, Stephanie is not running unopposed, as Brandon Moore is also running for the District 9 at-large seat. He says that his main goal is to partner the parents and children with the Board of Education to work together and to focus on the children's education. Moore says on his Facebook page that over the past couple years, he understands there have been some struggles, but he believes there's also been a lack of leadership and some bad decisions made. Primary voting in this race starts in May for Barrow County residents. Matthew Davis, Grady Newsource.
It might not be raining cats and dogs earlier, but Northeast Georgia did see some flash flooding due to scattered showers. Grady Newsource meteorologist Brendan Corner has more.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school.
Jessica has been through a lot in her life from early childhood.
My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She came in looking to complete her diploma. She had a family she had to take care of. Anytime she needed help, we provided her help. She realized that we were here for her.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
My graduation, it was something I will never forget. I couldn't explain the emotion I was feeling because people like you and me sometimes may have doubts in ourselves, but I feel that everything's possible.
Jessica's future is brighter than ever.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
The Dutch. Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
And now, the weather.
I'm Brennan Kerner with your Greater Athens area weather. If you've been out of the house the past couple of days, you've probably noticed that it's been a little wet on the roads. Starting with today's weather, we'll see a high of 73 degrees with a low of around 55, with a slight possibility of scattered showers. As we head into the 5-day forecast, you can see that the temperatures might hit that 80-degree mark, which would near last year's record-breaking 81 degrees for the month of February. After just a couple of days of warmer weather, the incoming warm fronts look to bring more rain as we get closer to the weekend. There's about a 20% chance of rain starting on Friday, which will increase to about 40% on Saturday and Sunday. As you can see here, heavy rain has flooded some of the roads in the Athens area. To keep you safe on the streets during these wet times, the National Weather Service has put together a spotter safety program called ACES. A spotter is someone who can notify a driver about potentially dangerous driving conditions. If you want to learn more on safe transportation during inclement weather, head to www.weather.gov/safety for more information. I'm Brennan Kerner, Grady Newsource.
Coming up after the break, we hear more about Atlanta United's upcoming season and an update on UGA sports.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
And now, sports.
I'm Danielle Burrows, and
Mrs. Newsource Sports. Georgia's one and only Major League Soccer team will kick off the start of the season with a match against Sporting Kansas City at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium Sunday at 3 p.m. Spring is here, which means that the SEC tournament and March Madness are just around the corner. However, Georgia basketball is in rough shape going into the tournaments. Men's basketball has experienced record-breaking losses. Last night's game against Texas A&M marked the 8th straight loss for the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs have not made an appearance in the NCAA tournament since 2015. Now there are only 3 more games in the regular season. On the other hand, Georgia baseball is currently undefeated after last night's 7-1 win against Wofford College. Senior Ben Anderson was a big part of this win, going 4 for 4 with 4 runs scored and 2 RBIs. Georgia baseball will now look forward to its second series of the year against Akron starting Friday. That's all for sports. Daniel Burrows, Grady Newsource.
Up next, we'll hear about a historical award-winning local restaurant and its significance to both the local and broader communities.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
Black History Month means a celebration of all things Black culture. An important aspect of the culture is food, particularly soul food. Grady Newsource reporter Adrian Godoy shows us what's cooking at a local restaurant in Athens, Weaver D's.
Automatic for the people. That's the slogan at Weaver D's. Located just outside of downtown Athens, the local soul food joint has been open for over 35 years. Owner Dexter Weaver opened the restaurant by himself in 1986, and he hasn't looked back since.
One time I was unemployed, and I started cooking out of my home on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Somebody came and told me this place that went out of business used to be called Riverside Cafe. And I knocked on the doors and found out who owned it and called a person and looked at it, and then I got it and we remodeled it and we opened up May 1st of '86.
Weaver D's quickly gained traction. Weaver's slogan became so popular that famous Athens music group REM requested to use the slogan as the title for an album. In 2009, the restaurant received national recognition from the James Beard Foundation. It earned America's Classics honors for its timeless appeal. Unfortunately, struggle struck in 2012.
In 2012, we almost went out of business.
But luckily, support that he received around Athens and around the country helped him stay on his feet.
People came to my aid. We were on the news. We was in the newspaper, USA Today. Saying that this historical place might go out of business. And the people came to our rescue.
The business is small, but customers are loyal and return every chance they get.
Best fried chicken you put in your mouth, but I like the atmosphere. I like the way they treat people. Very good customer service and a very good restaurant for the community. You can come by and meet people and a family atmosphere.
And whether you're looking for good company or good eats, make sure you stop by Weaver D's. Adrian Godoy, Grady Newsource.
Thank you for joining us for Grady Newsource at 5. We hope you have a great night.
Grady, a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text to emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Greg, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time hero to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Oh, sorry, that's weird hearing myself twice. So from the technical side of things, we definitely, like, on our end, I guess, like, apologies for some of the technical difficulties at the beginning. You know, getting making sure, you know, as we get reps in, that those things are put in order correctly at the beginning. But also, like, on the preparation end, you know, the sooner that we can get in those packages, the easier it is on our end. So we really appreciate, you know, being able to get those in 15, 20 minutes before show versus, like, you know, just a handful, just so that we can make sure that those are in correctly. Other than that, though, from our end, like, audio levels looked pretty good. A lot of those packages are really consistent, which was really nice, and made our jobs a little easier with that. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. Yes. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. So in terms of, like, what was wrong on the equipment end, we were having audio problems with the live view, not picking up any of the audio, but instead having, like, kind of a ticking noise. In terms of what we could do in order to make sure that doesn't happen, I mean, it would be now, you know, communicating with Jim and making sure that, like, if that live view is the issue, then getting a different one for next time. And then also, you know, in terms of the timing, I think that we were fine. Like, no one was necessarily late. I guess also knowing, though, like, if we do have to walk, maybe giving a little more time versus driving, just so that we can. Yeah. Mm. Mhm. 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 Mhm.
Those mics today. Finally.
Mhm.
Finally. So what would be very helpful for us is if you, from your point of view, I guess it's still early on, you don't know what happened exactly, but from what you are able to gather, what are the things that we can do so that we make a live shot happen? And again, as I said, I expected it wouldn't work, but we had to try it so that we see what doesn't work and we learn from it and make it happen next time. So any advice from your point of view that we can do? Should we be there earlier? Should we test things earlier? Anything you can share with us so that we all hear it and make a live shot actually come alive in the next one.
I guess like my biggest recommendation from the technical side would probably be timing. Like I think we were up there with like 30 minutes today, which like if everything goes smoothly, like that would be perfect. But like that's everything
what about
going
testing? Were we late in testing it because it was like a minute before air or 2 minutes?
I think we had been testing the audio for like about 20 minutes prior. It was we were hoping we ran to get Jim and we were hoping that we would be able to figure something out, but we just weren't able to. So I think that always erring on the side of caution and maybe giving yourself 10 minutes more than you like expect to need, and then making sure that you're on the phone with someone in studio probably 30 minutes prior versus 20 or 15, 17.
Who is that person who needs to be in contact with the studio 20 minutes prior?
Need to be the manager that you have with you for your live shot.
Okay.
So they should be prepped with how everything should work, but in the case something's not working, making sure they're on the phone with someone in the studio, I would say 30 minutes prior, so that in the case of it being the issue being some sort of faulty equipment,
and
that
you
we could
guys
send
will
somebody.
communicate that amongst yourselves.
Yes.
We're just learning what worked and what didn't.
Yeah.
All of you guys are volunteers, and I so appreciate everything. We're all learning. You are learning. We are learning.
Yes.
So, is there anything I can do to talk to probably Professor Shumway or anybody else about the equipment, or Jonathan Streetman about the equipment if it failed us and it needs to be repaired? What?
I'm honestly not sure. I mean, I would assume that the problem is with the specific Live View 2 that we took today. I think that was the one that we had checked out. So just making sure that Live View 2 is working, and if it's not working, getting a different one next time.
Okay, and you guys will make sure that that's done by Monday? Because if we decide to go by Monday, and if there's something I can do to speed up the process or help you, please let me know.
Yes.
So that's what we need to do. We need to check out the equipment and find out why it didn't work. We need to start checking things 20 minutes beforehand and be in communication. Hello, here are our intrepid heroes. I know you tried. We're just talking about, that's what I want to focus our post-show critique today, because we started something new. I didn't expect it to work. This is our intrepid Delaney Tarr, who wrote this wonderful, who had this great plan for a live shot. She volunteered, the brave one, to do it, but it didn't happen. So we're talking about what we can do differently so that it happens. That's why we tested it out today. So I would like to also have you, once you take a breath, from your experience, this must have been a scary, disappointing thing. So catch your breath, and I just want to finish. Do you have anything else that that you want us to know so that we help you and we're able to make it come alive?
No, I think just like reiterating like the earlier that people can get things in the better, if you name things like the actual slug versus just like, the name, like a generic name for the package, that also is helpful. It saves us time, make sure we can get things in. So just the little details.
Is that you're talking about the live shot or
packages?
In general?
Just
about
in
packages.
General. Yeah.
Yes, we've talked about this, so let's reiterate that again. Your package, your script, has to have the same slug as it has in the rundown. When it is fed, it needs to be fed at least half an hour before the show. By 4:30 p.m., it's supposed to be cutoff time. You cannot be working on your package after that, except in situations where you have a late interview, newsmaker stuff that you needed to drop in at the last moment. So 4:30 is the cutoff time for your package to be fed. It has to be labeled correctly, and we talked about why it's so important to be labeled correctly in the rundown and also when you download it onto a server, because otherwise they cannot find it. It's just, they have to make split-second decisions, and they don't have the time to look for, and guess which one is your package because it doesn't have the same name. They're looking at the rundown. They have the rundown printed, and they're looking at the rundown labels or how it's described in the rundown. So does that make sense, guys? Do you have questions on that? Do you understand this? And will you please do it? So we don't have this mix up. If you have any questions, ask now. All right, so I think we are on the same page now. Cutoff time 4:30, again, reminder. Label things correctly. And if you're doing a live shot, you should be there at least half hour before that and start testing the equipment 20 minutes before that. If you're the MMJ, you can remind the manager to start doing that 20 minutes before. That's not your job, of course. We help each other. We are a team. If something, that's how television works. Not everybody's perfect, and we just have each other's backs. And that's why we need to have these meetings and talk about what we need to do so that we watch each other's backs. And if somebody forgets something and is running late, we sort of help each other out, remind each other. And that's when things are smoother. So
Sure.
anything else we need to know from you?
I think that hits all the points. Yeah.
Thank you, darling. And thank you for the great job you guys do. This was not easy on you. So
Thanks. I mean, y'all did, all the packages and stuff look great. It's just, it'll come, getting everything
that's why we're
in the right places.
We're learning. And Delaney, did you catch your breath? Do you want to share with us? So
Yeah, so I think everything in terms of preparation for the live shot went very well. Scripts were done. We got there actually a little bit before half an hour than we needed to be. We started setting up. It's just sometimes technical difficulties happen. There was something going on with the audio. We even brought in Jim. He said, I don't know what's going on. Everything you guys have is set up. So sometimes you can't control it. Sometimes you can't win with a technical difficulty.
It happens. Yes.
I would say it might just be because we haven't done a live shot yet, that the equipment wasn't totally set up right.
Yeah.
So I think in the future, before we do a live shot, setting it up just outside and just kind of making sure that we can do it at some point to test it, to make sure the equipment's not broken. I don't think it's broken, but just in case. We did still do the shot and the interview with Mocha just in case, so that if we wanted to put it on social media, we could, because we were like, we came all this way. She's here with us.
Excellent.
We didn't want to abandon it. So we tried our best. It didn't come through. It is very disappointing. I was very excited about it, but what happens, happens, and you make the most of it.
Exactly. And it looks like you're making the most of it. Yeah. That is great. And I wanted to also discuss in front of all of you, how do we script a live shot? If you're the producer, if you're the reporter, it takes a few extra rows in the rundown. So imagine the live shot. How does it begin? Anchor in the studio, tossing to a reporter live on the scene, right? So everything has to have a little place, a little row in the rundown. So when you're doing a live shot, you don't just have a lead and a donut, or lead and package. You have anchor lead in the studio, reporter lead on the scene. Then if the reporter is tossing to a donut, you have a row for donut, and then you have a live tag. So it takes 4 rows to describe for our technical crew what they need to do, because they need to know they're taking the anchor in the studio, they're going to the live scene, taking the reporter from the live scene, then they're taking a donut from the server. Imagine all the things they have to do. And then they're going live back outside to the reporter. And if that is not described and labeled correctly, it becomes a mess. So that's why it's so important to, everything has to be scripted and written out. So that is how we do a live shot. And in this one, we didn't have a donut. You don't need to necessarily have a donut. She had arranged for a live interview. But what happened was, she came to me like, when was it? 45 minutes before that, and she said, you know what, I'm having second thoughts whether I can be live off the top of the show. And I said, why? She said, well, I have this interview with Mocha Johnson, but she said she's coming at 5, and I'm live at 5. So what
she
I
was
did,
late also, like I thought.
and she was late. So I gave her and the producer a workaround that I used to use in my practice, is when we have a situation like this where we know for sure that we have a live anchor on the scene, but we don't know if that live anchor will be able to join us off the top of the show, and it's still our lead story, because Maddie came to me and said, I don't have another lead story. What do I start my show with? This is the most important story of the day. And so what we did, we had Delaney write a little, a longer lead, like a script, which gave us some background on the story and told us that she will be joining us live from the scene a little bit later in the show. So that gave us two things. We still started with our most important story of the day. We have the viewers aware and interested that they will be getting a live shot from the scene of the event. And we continued our show while we're waiting for her to have Mocha Johnson by her side so that we can go live. And that didn't happen. We were hoping that it would happen, but this was a workaround. If you're a producer and at the last moment your live shot is not happening when you expect it, you can always go to this workaround. So that's what we did, which added one more script to her portfolio, and then we had the anchor write herself a little script. If the live shot failed, she could still tell us what the story is about, because it's so important, and we needed to start our show with that story. So those I just wanted to share for everybody's benefit, all the different things that went behind the scenes. Even though this didn't work, I think we learned a lot from it. How to do a live shot, how to prepare in case it can't come on time, how to prepare in case it fails, what does the anchor need to do, and have that all scripted in the rundown. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys on the live shot. And Matt, you probably want to say something about the live shot and the show from your perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, going into today, and I guess like right up until the show started, I felt really good about what was going on. I feel like just like a really round of applause to all of you guys. Y'all were like really good at communicating with me, and literally everyone got a package in. So that was supposed to get in a package. So that was really great and reassuring that everyone did what they were supposed to do today. So yeah, I mean, going up to the show, I think it was working out really good. And then when we found out quite last minute that the live shot wasn't going to work, that's when like my town started falling down. So I started freaking out a little bit, and the show didn't go the way that like I wanted it to go, and I learned a lot from it, for sure. And if I were to do it again, like I feel like I would do a better job at it. But other than that, I mean, the live shot was so exciting, and you know, it would have been awesome and so thrilling to get that, to like have that accomplished, but it didn't, and it's okay. Things happen, so I understand. But yeah, I mean, ended up being okay. We're still all alive. We're all still going on, going forward.
Yeah, and
so
we tried it. We tried it. That is a big step forward because we hadn't done this, and it's about high time that we had tried it. So whoever's producing on Monday, follow the news, especially the last news on Monday morning, and see what's happening in town, and see if we can try another live shot. Speaking of live, we also tried the board, and I think it worked well, but I noticed something that because I know my overachiever, Brianna, many of you, all of you are overachievers, I think you had a few too many slides, and that made you nervous, and it was too much for you to keep changing them. So my thinking, and again, hindsight is 20/20, but my thinking is that you should have fewer slides so that you relax a little bit and not have to be constantly stopping your reading because you have to press that button, and that's what I would recommend. I like the way you guys interacted at the end as we talked. We talked about some interaction because Brianna told me, you know what, I found something very interesting, that more than 50% of the fatalities are actually people our age, people your age, not mine. And so I kind of prompted her and I said, so how would you toss back to Ansley? Could you do some interaction? And she said, I'm nervous. This is such a serious story. How do I do it? And I said, well, this is about people like you, right? Couldn't you relate to that and just say something, that's something we should pay attention to? And she wrote it beautifully. She executed it beautifully. Ansley also responded beautifully. And I think it was a good moment on air. It was a human moment. So I also encourage you to think of ways in which you toss back to the anchor from the scene. Delaney was asking me, how do I toss back? And I told her, well, it depends on what Mocha Johnson says last. You could come out of, if she says something surprising, interesting, you could repeat it and just say, so now we heard from Mocha Johnson that this is an event, or something like newsy, like it's going to happen again tomorrow or something that we didn't expect, right? I'm making this up. So you recap the most important, newsiest part of what you just heard and say, so we continue to follow this event, and now it's back to you, Ansley, in the studio. And Ansley thanks her. Don't forget to interact and thank to toss also to the person who's live on the scene, so that there's this passing over to the next person, passing on the torch, and there's interaction that's interesting to the viewer always, to see that you guys are friends and you're talking to each other. That looks really good on air and helps bring in people, and it's a good thing to remember. So I wanted to, that's what I would have suggested, only that you had wonderful slides. They were simple with not too much information. However, there were so many of you to keep changing, of them to keep changing on live air. I think that next time, I know you're an overachiever, that's why you did it. It takes one to know one, but look at it again, and I think that's what made you a little bit nervous, though you're such a natural on camera. Don't get me wrong, it went well, but I think it would have been better for you to have less of those, and you would have been able to focus more on actually talking to the viewer and keeping that connection with the viewer. So that's what I would suggest. But at least we had one live thing, right? We had one, and that was, thank you for doing this, Delaney. Thank you for all the great ideas. That was your idea. Thank you for giving up your initial idea and letting Delaney go with it, and you making that pivot. As I said, I thought all of you came very well prepared, and much better than Monday, where you had me worried. It's like, how do I inspire you guys? I felt like you had lost your inspiration. It's just like, it happens. But I'm encouraged by what I saw this morning. All of you really tried. I saw it. A lot of you had interviews scheduled during the day. A lot of you had gone already at events. And yes.
I think this is on. One person that I'd really like to give a pat on the back is Elle, because that story was literally on the rocks, and she kept on pushing for the sources, and you did. Like, you got those sources even when no one was answering. You just showed up and you said, I'm here. So I think that's really cool that you just kept on going for it. You weren't going to give up. I really like that.
Yeah, that's what it takes, not giving up, because it's hard. People are busy. It's not that they don't want to help you or give you their time. They're busy, and sometimes it takes some extra persistence. I would say in our remaining moments that Adrian's package was beautifully done from start to finish. Even at the end, it was so creative with you and a stand-up. It was very well done, and very well edited. And even though I gave you a hard time about having some kind of broader perspective, it was nice to end the show with it. It was I think it was our best package for today. I saw a lot of effort at improvement with all of your packages. I like the fact that Matthew had a stand-up as well. I couldn't watch your whole package because there was a lot going on, but what I saw was very good. Again, I have to, but I was able to watch Adrian's because it was the last one, and we sort of relaxed. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and so I was able to watch his package. I did see, though, when I was peeking at your stuff, there was a lot of shaky video in quite a few packages. So be careful with that, and have either use your body to stabilize your camera, but a tripod is the best thing to do when you're in those situations. So we've got 3 minutes left. Digital producers, sorry guys, I just left 3 minutes, but I thought it was important to talk about the live shot as well.
Yes, ma'am, no, you're fine. Today went well. Just one thing, like, keep in mind, again, when we text you guys about content, like, the sooner the better, because it helps us out on our end and we can get it out faster. Also would encourage you, like, I know I was the Grady Daily, like, we want to try to get out probably, I would say at the latest 11 o'clock. Just come in, like, get it, because I was late on mine, and I was like, okay, well, when I was late on mine, I was like, man, like, this is gonna be past. So, like, it just takes a second for it to upload to YouTube, and then, like, once we get it, it's literally like 20 minutes. So I would just rather have it out before lunch. But Ainsley's looked good. And like, keep in mind, like, it takes a while to edit it. So you need to, as soon as you leave the pitch meeting, you need to be here, and you need to have V approve your script, and then you need to sit down and figure out how to get all the graphics and the sound on your Grady Daily, because it is very confusing. Harper spent a lot of time last week trying to figure out why my lower thirds and all of that wasn't downloading. So you need to allot for some time, because in all honesty, like, it probably takes maybe 30 minutes at the most for you to record it, start over. But where it gets heavy is the editing process. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, we had you talk.
Today we got out an Instagram post, so you guys should all check that out. And we're also going to post an article about the Athens-Clarke County redistricting, the commission districts that are going to be changing in 2023. So keep an eye out for that too. But yeah, for the most part, I think today went really smoothly.
All right, that's good. One last thing about anchors to have in mind. If you're told to toss to Matthew's package, the viewer doesn't know. Now we'll show you Matthew's package, right? You need to pick up your lead, the script, and if you can't find it, ad-lib. That's why you need to know your content. Ad-lib, just a simple lead to Matthew's script. Instead of saying we now will play Matthew's story, avoid saying we will go to script A1 or we will play Matthew's, because people don't know what that is and who Matthew is. If they knew, they would be delighted, but they don't know, and they just want to know what the topic of his wonderful package was. So I thought the weather and sports were very animated from what I was able to see. Both of you did a great job in presentation, and you had fewer scripts than that's what gave me the idea, because I was looking at them saying, why were they so smoother? Of course, they were recorded. You were live, but they had less slides, and they were able to focus and point from time to time and focus. And I really liked Danielle with her. She was the first one who did her own interview, didn't just take a soundbite from the Smart Press conference. She really arranged that, came prepared, and I really appreciate that. Was very good. But both of you, great presentation. And yes, darling.
Helped me with my community member source, and I want to say thank you for that. And I feel like you and I forgot who worked on something else, so I think that's a good thing for all of us.
I think you've made a lot of progress with your B-roll. What I was able to see, the way you'd framed, obviously you had a tripod for that, but you didn't have a tripod for the rest of it. It's like, ooh, okay. But you had framed your interview very well. And I saw some progress in your B-roll and the way you had this guy showing you things, and when you were saying something, you said he showed us, and he actually was showing us. And so keep that going. What you did today, keep that going. And thank you for the collaboration, yes. I'm missing probably people, but I just thought I would focus on the things I was able to see. Thank you, Cole, for working with me. The script came well. What I saw from your package was just one and the same kind of B-roll from the meeting. And so maybe next time my only suggestion would be, I thought the final script came together very well. Like, we worked, and I gave you a hard time, and you were very kind, and you worked at it. I hope you learned something about broadcast style from me. I gave you some tips from the trade. So anyway, when you go to events like that, I know you went in the last moment. I commend you for doing that, because you went on your own time and you were well prepared for that. Then think of B-roll, think of other things, think of a stand-up. That could have saved you also, a stand-up while you were there, and or gone out today and shot a stand-up outside or something, to when it's poor visually, it's just a meeting and there's only so much you can do with B-roll. So think of B-roll, think of more like a graphic with something, or just that would be my advice, visually, to think of the visuals. Otherwise, I think the script, the way you reworked it, came together very well. It's just thinking of the visual storytelling. Say something, show something. So that would be my suggestion. So, Anna, your package was also what I was able to see. I really liked it. Yes, the way it came together, the topic itself was just a very serious way of Anna. I know I'm going over time, but Anna set an example of how you do the day of something. You do it by focusing on the issue that that day is commemorating. And I thought, from what I was able to see, it was well shot, well edited, what I was able to see. So, and I hope I'm missing people, but forgive me. But again, I'm very happy with you guys. Thank you for everything you did today. And we end the week strong. And I hope you come next Monday inspired, and we do even better, and maybe we do a live shot also. So guys, get some rest. Well done. Enjoy the rest of the week and the week.